What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we are talking the Peacemaker Season 2 finale. Everyone loved it, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. But before we get into all of that fun, Doug, how's it going, sir?
Well, Keith, let me tell you, I am outstanding. I've had a pretty darn good, relaxing weekend. And you know what is just the cherry on top of this Sunday? Pun intended. It's getting to hang out with you and talk some Peacemaker. But
Yes.
obviously, before we get into that, Keith, how are you doing?
Doug, I am tremendous. Another fun-filled, extravagant weekend. Went tailgating up for the Michigan State game. Got to
Ooh,
watch football
nice.
today. Went on a bike ride. Fun, 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 till Daddy takes the T-bird away, I suppose. But let's talk Peacemaker. Season 2 finale. Full Nelson. Little did I know what that meant.
Right?
But 1 month earlier, we see what happened on the boat with Peacemaker and Harcourt.
You
Wasn't
know,
as
I gotta ask, Keith, out of all the big reveals that we could have had in the season finale, were you expecting the revelation of what really happened on the boat?
no, I was
Neither
not.
was I. Out of all the possibilities that we were theorizing, the boat story was I kind of kept forgetting like he would bring it up every now and again, Chris to Harcourt and bring did you feel anything on the boat? Like what did you feel? Did you feel? And it's like no nobody cares about your boat makeout sesh, dude. Come on.
He did.
He did,
End of
yes.
list.
And perhaps the Nelson brothers did too.
Yes. And then we come back to the present day. Peacemaker is still in prison. He's refusing to see any of the 11th Street kids coming to visit him. And Argus is investigating all of the doors in the quantum unfolding chamber. And agents are getting killed, and there's just craziness going on, and doors being locked. And Rick Flag Sr. is starting to buddy up with all the ex Luthor people.
Hmm.
In the
Now, you
way
had made a comment saying that, in our chat about this, you were saying that he has to do these bad things in order for potentially Amanda Waller to unseat him and take power back control over Argus or Creature Commandos and or Task Force X. And yeah, I could definitely see that, but this seems like a really quick turnaround.
he definitely went full blown villain really quick.
Hmm.
And obviously, the worst thing he's did, we'll talk about it at the end, but he definitely is ignoring his own agents. I mean, Harcourt, what's her name? The cyborg, judo master are all kind of like, this isn't right. I mean, they're all kind of a little bugged by it. But
Yeah, they're watching their friends die, of course.
yeah,
And the thing is that and a couple of them said this multiple times like what are we even doing this for? And we're not getting straight answers and like we keep going into all these different doorways and all these different worlds, but what exactly are we doing? Like nobody will say is this resources? Is it, you know, some government takeover thing?
is it some secret metahuman prison?
Ugh.
But they end up bailing, Peacemaker out. He grabs Eagly. And that was so sad when Eagly was just hanging out like in the closet with his head down. Never seen an eagle
Mhm.
sad, and I don't think I need to see it again.
No. But I do like that Adebayo got her hug.
Yes, that was great. But they end up finding a hospitable dimension. They're calling it salvation. Now, were you
Well,
familiar with that term at all?
Yeah, I ended up looking at, well, I wasn't when I watched the episode. I'll be clear about that. I ended up having to look it up after the fact and found that it was actually in the comics that this is pulled directly from a run. And I was like, oh, interesting. Like, I tell you what, every time James Gunn pulls this weird, obscure thing out of like the Silver Age comics or some shit, like it's always very interesting to me.
Yeah, he does a good job of finding those little things and tweaking it a bit. And while most people
Hmm.
weren't very fond of this episode, and it did feel like an epilogue to me, I still liked it for that fact. Things that it was setting up
I
later down the line.
Yes, yes. I liked the things that it set up for the larger story that that they're telling with this DC universe. I will agree to that as well. Um, Much like I like Terminator Salvation for showing us different cool things like, oh, that's an old Terminator. The story was garbage, but there's some cool stuff in the movie.
There was. That is true. They end up. Oh, Rick Flag pitches it as a, prison for metahumans to the government, which it does get approved, which I
Yeah,
was
I can't even
shocked.
believe that it got approved that quick too. Because like we saw some pushback happening as he's sitting around the same exact people that we saw in that same room in Superman. And I thought for sure there would be more pushback against it.
It did seem like it was a little easily approved, and maybe it's something that
Hmm.
Lex was pushing earlier, or something along those lines, or they're just realizing after what happened in Superman, metahumans basically
Mm.
stopped war, kind of pushing their own agenda, at least how government would see it, pushing their own agenda out. So maybe
Hmm.
that's why it is. But yeah, I was pretty shocked. But then Bordeaux reveals that to Harcourt, and then uses her credentials to locate Peacemaker, in
Oh
which
my God. Economos. Oh Lord. Why would they think that it's a good idea to ask him to distract anybody? I mean, comedy gold right there, but oh Lord, that man.
it was that curb your enthusiasm, uncomfortable laughter during that scene, and I loved it.
I
It was
really
awesome.
was. I was cringing. That is such a good description, Keith. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah, because oh my God, I'm just like, oh God. Like, I felt like other people were probably stopping their work just to watch this interaction. They probably knew that he was being used as a distraction, but at the same time, they're probably like, well, let's just see how this goes. Let's see how this plays out.
This is such a train wreck. I have to watch it.
Right.
This is
We
so
kind of have to
awesome.
let it happen. Because I feel like that would have been me too if I was, one of Lex Luthor's cronies helping to create a metahuman prison. But, there were some people poorly trying to stop us. I'd just be like, yeah, I want to see where this goes.
And then they end up going to a motel where Chris is staying, self-medicating a little bit.
Yeah.
And they tell him, "Hey, you're loved, appreciated, all this stuff." They're making him feel good. Ebadiah with a great little speech and saying every decision that is kind of forced on you is ends up being wrong. Trust your gut, all that stuff, and they end up starting Checkmate, which I did not
Hmm.
see coming.
I thought you did. I could have sworn you brought
I,
it up like when we first started reviewing
I
this.
talked about Checkmate. I didn't think it would be them putting it together. I did. It was funny because I talked about by the end of this, Chris will have a team of his own working with.
Mm-hmm.
I never once expected Checkmate because I was like, they're always kind of like a secret spy organization that
Hmm.
is in the shadows and only comes out and pops its head in certain areas, but you
Hmm.
you find out it's always been work in certain areas. So I was kind of like, okay, that's fine. They can't get as in depth in television and movies as they do in the comics. So I kind of liked it. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And Judo Masters with them, and Flurry and Bordeaux, and
Hmm.
they got cyborgs, they got Peacemaker, they got Judo Masters, so they got Soups, they got Harcourt and John, so they got a bunch of good people work, and Vigilante, of course.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
so
will say, prior to them doing this, that moment between Adebayo and her, I guess, ex-wife now,
yeah,
very touching, sad, but necessary. You don't see that too often in a movie or show where they realize, what, maybe we aren't good together.
and it was funny.
Usually, always these shows and movies, they always want to wrap things up and put a nice, neat bow on it and be like, oh, and they got back together and everybody's happily ever after. And it's like, she had to realize, they both had to realize, like, I don't want to run a pet shop with you. I want to be a super spy.
And it was Judo Master in that other dimension when he was like, well, you're not listening to her dreams either. And I
Yep.
did think it would be like, oh, you're right. I was ignoring you and let's be happy. And it was
Yeah.
nice that it wasn't this MGM ending where we got,
Yep.
hey, I realized we may love each other, but we're not good for each other, you know?
Yep.
So let's just move on, which is good because she would have never been happy running a pet store. And, you know, her ex wife would have never been happy with her, you know, being part of Checkmate. So it
Exactly.
worked out well. And then Rick Flag comes, takes Peacemaker, and throws him into Salvation. Which, why did he not put up a fight? I know why he didn't put up a fight when he had him in custody last time. He was at a low point. He thought he deserved it. He was in a much better place here, and I was kind of shocked that he just let them take him in.
I have a theory about that.
Let's hear it, sir.
And this actually goes back to about 2 episodes ago when he, when they were leaving Earth X. My theory then was that I think after this, Chris Peacemaker is going to essentially become like a real superhero. He's going to vow to never kill again, and he's going to really be pulling his punches from now on because I think he's finally broke and he's finally realized like when he made that comment like I'm bad luck, I'm cursed, everybody around me dies. I think he's realizing, I've been going through life, commenting I'll kill whoever I need to achieve peace, and I think it's finally hitting him. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. So I took it as he didn't really fight back as hard as he normally would have because I think he's afraid of killing more people.
All right. I like that theory. That's good because I was, we talked about it. This whole episode to me felt like an epilogue. It felt like post-credit scenes.
It
To a
did, yeah.
season.
It didn't feel like the end of a season. Like when this ended, my assumption would have been, oh, okay, there's like another episode to wrap this up. And like I get having a cliffhanger. There are plenty of season finales that do cliffhangers, but this didn't even really feel like a normal cliffhanger. That just felt like another problem that probably would have gotten solved in the next episode.
100%. And I know it's leading into Man of Tomorrow, and with that big reveal, I was pretty happy with where it's headed. I like the whole Salvation run, and we'll talk about that in a minute. This episode overall just felt lackluster, like you put in the title.
Yeah. And I mean, if you take out all of the flashback moments on the boat with the rock bands and all the songs and everything, this probably would have cut down to about a 15-minute episode.
Yeah.
I might be, over exaggerating a bit, but seriously, there was so many of these scenes, like in the restaurant, and I get it. It's character development. It's showing people what really happened on the boat, and now we get Harcourt and Peacemaker showing that they really do have feelings for each other after all. She's opening up a bit more, and this is probably going to be the catalyst for her. She's going to have to go and save him now that, he's trapped in this other dimension. But yeah, I kind of feel like some of this stuff should have been condensed a bit more. Like, I don't think we needed so many of these scenes. These characters are already pretty well developed. I don't think
Yeah.
we needed that much more.
I agree. They really went overboard. Seeing 2 full songs from bands,
Yeah.
just felt like James Gunn wanted to get some music into this and play.
One of which is the opening dance
Yes.
number. We heard that again.
So we know you like music. You pick good songs.
Yeah.
I went from, and it's funny. Everyone on the internet, it's like when they first got the new song, I was kind of like, but now I'm like, and everyone is. I mean, it really did come along, but man, just showing full songs and Nelson Brothers and all that stuff, I was
Yeah.
just like, I don't think this
When I
helps.
saw them, I was like, really? Okay.
Now, the one thing it did do is make me change who I think the villain might be in Man of Tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yes. Everyone thinks Brainiac
Mm-hmm.
going to be the big bad. It's who, he needs who Superman will need Lex Luthor to kind of team up with to stop. But Salvation in the comic run, when
Mm-hmm.
when the Suicide Squad started sending prisoners there, they found out that this was a training ground for the new gods of Apocalypse, run by Desaad.
Really?
Yes. And basically, while they're there, it's a crazy storyline because, Waller and the Suicide Squad are just sending, like, Lex Luthor's there, the Joker's there, Bane, Poison Ivy, Deadshot, Gorilla Grodd, Catwoman, Vandal Savage. And it's like Lex Luthor had his own camp of people there. The Joker had his, gang.
Mm-hmm.
Vandal Savage had his people, and they're all like kind of fighting to stay alive, and craziness, and you don't know at all that Desaad is kind of running this planet until kind of
Yeah.
the end when he sends a ton of parademons and stuff. But if this is where they're going, and this leads directly into Man of Steel, and they go there to try to rescue,
That would make sense.
I could see it, and it makes sense. It's
Kind
once
of.
well,
So
it'll
it makes sense that it would link up to another one of the movies. I just thought, personally, I thought that it would lead directly into Superwoman or Supergirl.
I think Supergirl is going to be more of a standalone type thing because Woman of Tomorrow limited series, I mean, it's kind of its own little self-contained story. And I don't know how much of that they're following for this movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it's its own little self-contained story. So as
Okay.
nice as it would be to kind of get that, I think it'll be its own little thing, and then this will lead into this. And I really don't see. It's almost like I think Lex and Superman are going to team up, and we're not going to know it's Desaad right away, obviously, and then
Yeah.
it'll come out, and that leads us to Darkseid, and it gets in all the new gods, and it gets in all the stuff on Apocalypse. I'm like, okay, they're going to kind of bring this in early rather than later. Like he's not shying away from Darkseid
Mm-hmm.
because the Zack Snyder, you know,
Well,
Justice League did it.
what is James Gunn calling this chapter again?
Gods and Monsters.
There you go.
Yep.
Oh, we've already had plenty of monsters with Creature Commando. Now we just need the gods.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, as much as I wasn't too thrilled with this episode, it was fine. Don't get me wrong. I didn't hate it. I wasn't like, that's a two, so
Oh
bad.
yeah, yeah.
But outside of what it set up, it was just kind of a blase type episode. Once
Yeah,
again,
I mean we're barely into our stream, and we've kind of run the gamut on what happened in the episode. I mean, there's not much more to break down. It's not like I wish there were, more Easter eggs to it, but we pretty much already told you what they were. Yeah, they made
yeah,
checkmate. Okay, that's cool. We've got Salvation. Okay, that's I mean. I wish that we could say that more happened. Like usually when it comes to these big season finales, especially something that is supposed to lead or be a chapter of this or be a part of this larger story, you'd think there'd be more twists or like I guess more of I'm trying to think of a word for it, but essentially that would make the cliffhanger more bombastic than oh, Peacemaker got moved from one prison to another and I guess it ended with a growl. Okay.
yeah, you do
I
fight
mean,
that.
yeah, I guess I'm worried about Peacemaker, but like I have to wait a whole year for the next season anyway, so I mean, okay.
There may not be a Peacemaker season 3.
Oh, even better.
This leads directly into Man of Tomorrow.
Okay. Well,
So,
hey.
yeah, it was one of those things where, sweet, we saw 2 songs. We got,
Hmm.
like you said, okay, Checkmate is now, in the DCU. Rick
Hmm.
Flags went full villain mode. And, oh, okay. And now they're doing Salvation. Excellent.
Yeah,
And it's over. And I was like,
that's it.
wait, didn't James Gunn say this was like the most insane episode he's ever done? And it's
Yeah.
the highlight of his career. And I'm, when I'm starting to think when things aren't that great, James Gunn goes into
He
like, I'm gonna say
over
how awesome it
exaggerates
is.
how amazing it is. Because didn't he say something similar to, was it about Flash or Aquaman?
Flash.
Flash.
He said it was
Yeah,
the
that
best
was.
superhero movie ever made.
It's like, and I think at the time we were willing to kind of give it a pass and be like, oh, they probably made him say that. But I can't imagine anybody making him say this stuff about Peacemaker season two finale.
And it really was a great season leading up to this. So much was
Yeah.
done, and some of it may have been, and once again, because of what he said, us, what cameos are we going to see? Oh my God, are we going to see
Hmm.
Booster Gold because Camille Ninjani was at the thing as Lex Luthor coming back? We're going to see Superman. Is it going to be Superman from another dimension? Are we getting this crazy? He said it was insane. It's got to be just craziness.
Where are they? Where's the big cameo? I was like, I'm sitting here thinking, all right, oh man, here we go. They're gonna go back into Dimension X, and we're gonna get the scene's gonna end. GI Robot, they're recommissioning him because he worked with Rick Flag Sr. It only makes oh no no they're not. Oh, okay, they're making a metahuman prison, and so we're done with Earth X. Like that story's over. Okay, cool. All right, well then, it's gonna end with Lobo. It's got to be Lobo, baby. They're bringing him back. He's not Aquaman anymore. He's coming back, and it's gonna be a funny little ending. And maybe Peacemaker will make a comment. Well, at least this guy doesn't fuck fish. But no, we got the Nelson twins.
And then it was funny because first I had to ask my wife, "Did I fall asleep for a little bit of this episode?" She's like, "I don't think so." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's disappointing." Then I'm like, post-credit sing stinger. We're getting something of quality,
No,
and we did get something of quality because it was more of
There's more Economos, which kind of worth it, I guess.
It was great,
Is that
but I honestly expected it leads directly into Man of Steel. So I'm like, we're gonna get that post-credit stinger that's gonna wow us, and we're going. We didn't. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Nothing like ending on a downer note. You know, we always talk about sticking to landing, and even Dave said in the Slack channel after we watched it, he's like, I don't think they stuck to landing. They didn't.
They did not. No, David's right.
And it's disappointing because this season, like all 7 episodes before this, were good to great. And this one just kind of was an episode.
Yep.
It's too bad.
Yeah, there were a lot of episodes in the season that I think the cliffhangers that they had at the end would have made for a better season finale ending than I think what we actually got.
Yep.
Like I can think of a couple like when he first decides to leave his friends and go into Dimension X and, closes the door behind him. That would have been not only, it would have been like a devastating, jaw dropping at that point. It would have been, if they would have ended the season there and said, now you got to wait until season 3 to find out, what's really in Earth X. Do his friends go after him? I would have been like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But now it's just like, he's in a field and we heard a roar, but we don't know what it came from. And we know that his friends will come after them because they just had this big moment where they formed a company together. So, like, not as big of a deal.
Yeah, it's okay. Is Superman Man of Tomorrow going to start with Checkmate trying to break into Argus to get to salvation and understand that if they even know Peacemaker was taken,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at
And when is Man of Tomorrow supposed to come out?
2027, July 2027.
Cool.
Yep.
So we got to wait until July of 2027 to figure out what happens at the end of this TV show that ended in 2025. Cool. Cool and good. All right.
Yeah. So
Well,
excited.
at least we have Stranger Things.
With 2-hour episodes. We're having a 8-movie final season of Stranger Things.
God.
Hopefully it's good. Hopefully they wrap it up nicely. But am I excited? No.
No.
Will I watch it? I mean, maybe.
Probably.
Actually, well, I'll probably start it because the wife and daughter do like it. Have liked the seasons, but if it starts out slow, and not good. I doubt I'll finish it. I just don't see myself. I just am completely emotionally checked out from that series. It's been so long.
Same. I
But
don't remember all the characters' names, nothing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But a few more things about the Peacemaker before we do our rating.
Okay.
It does look like Salvation Run. That's the comic book run where they were, all the villains were on
Only
this
difference
planet.
is it's not teleportation like it was in the comics. It's just a doorway.
Yep. And that's very interesting to me. I look forward to it. I hope Desaad is the one running it, unbeknownst to Rick Flag. He may be sending people there, and then they're going to find out, holy crap, what is this thing running? What did we get ourselves into with this? And then they may have to come in, and that may be where Waller finally rises up and takes out Rick Flag as, the leader of Argus. Because if they find out he's sending prisoners to some dimension or planet that is run by some crazy godlike being who tortures and manipulates and does all this, that may be the end of it. And we may see Checkmate become, just for lack of a better term, the DCU
The new
shield.
Argus. Oh, okay.
So they'll be trying to. I think we'll always have Argus, but I think Checkmate will be the one. Like you said, Peacemaker's always wanted to be a hero. He wants to do the right thing. I hope he does go and say, I'm not going to kill anymore. To bring peace, I got to be a better, superhero, better person.
That's what I foresee happening.
Because you always have Vigilante to give the
yeah.
the mayhem when needed. Because I don't think he's ever
Right.
going to change. But it'll almost be like the anti-Argus. They'll be doing things to try to make things better outside of it. And maybe it is something Superman finds out what's going on. It's like, holy cow. Lex Luthor had a dimension where he housed all of his enemies. And now Argus is doing it to people. And, no trial for Chris Smith. This isn't like he did stuff. He killed Rick Flag Sr.'s son. And so he exiled him.
Under orders.
Yes, under orders. Exactly.
And he made that clear, too.
Yeah, they did show that again. And so, yes, he definitely... I think they're setting it all up for Amanda Waller to come into power. And, there's been so much scuttlebutt about the Waller series being like a House of Cards type show where, she uses blackmail, manipulation to get back into the head of Argus and stuff.
See that.
And, yeah, that sounds awesome. So please do it. But, of course, every time James Gunn is asked about it, he says... we're not going to greenlit anything until the scripts are good, and we are, working on like a Waller show, but the scripts aren't there yet, so nothing for that.
I could totally see her. I could totally see her, like, putting on a front and being like, "This is a terrible thing that Rick Flag Sr. did, and the U.S. government doesn't stand for this kind of ignoring due process." And then, once the cameras and microphones are off. Shit, why didn't I think of that?
Well, now that the prison's there, we might as well make use of it.
Might as well use it, It'd be a lot harder to just, stop.
And I was thinking, too, a little bit, I was thinking about how the writer of Supergirl is now writing Teen Titans, and I think she's writing Wonder Woman, too, for the DCU.
Oh, really?
Do you think that they're going to go the Superboy route for the DCU, where we know Lex can create a clone using Kryptonian DNA. Will he try to make that clone better by inserting his own DNA into it? And we'll get the DCU Superboy.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
I hope it happens. And I hope we get it, sooner rather than later, because I think Teen Titans does better thematically when Superboy is, kind of a part of the team. So I was thinking about that, and I'm like, they got to do something with it. And I was, before this finale, I thought we were 100% going to get a type of Superboy cameo or thing. Because I'm thinking, this episode's insane, man. Oh, my God.
He said so.
Lex is going to be in his new prison where he's got access to all this stuff. He's totally making, so he's going to be like, I know what I did wrong. That clone wasn't up and it wasn't smart enough. I know what we need to fix it. And I'd be like, Superboy. No, it didn't happen.
Now, I don't know if you remember the the old Superman animated series. I say old, the '90s one, where the idea behind their version of Brainiac, or not Brainiac, of Bizarro was a clone that Lex Luthor had made that went wrong.
Yep,
So I'm wondering now, do you think we're going to get a return of Ultraman, but now as Bizarro?
I do think so. I think the way they set him going into, through that wormhole or black hole, whatever it was, is
Hmm.
going to change him. And probably not anytime soon we'll see it, but eventually it'll be like All Star Superman, where he ends up in this other dimension and realizes that, oh my God, the Ultraman clone is now like almost their leader to a certain extent. He's Bizarro. Me and Bizarro.
Right. Me, I'm love Superman. Me, I'm hate Lois.
But it's funny too, because the quantum unfolding chamber, there was 99 alternate realities. We saw him go in a
Hmm.
few, and I wonder if they're going to continue exploring once Waller takes back over, if she finds a way to make use of some of these other dimensions, because you know they're not going to let all of that untapped potential just go bye bye. They're going to hold on to it and try to make the
I
most
do
of it.
like I do like as soon as they open the door with the giant skulls on spider legs, they immediately were like, "Nope, not even." That's nothing to see here.
We'll
Just
lock this on
close
our
that
end.
door. Right. We're good.
Now, one of the other things James Gunn was talking about with the quantum unfolding chamber is
Hmm.
that it was designed by this non-human intellect, and everyone was like Brainiac, but of
Hmm.
course Desaad is also a genius level intellect.
Yep.
So I'm really thinking that he is the one who probably created this quantum unfolding chamber, and he created what they're calling salvation to be the training ground. And I hope, we know it won't match the comic run perfectly, but it'd be nice to see it match it kind of beat for beat, how all these criminals are there. Like we'll be seeing, all these criminals being set there by Argus, and then the different
Hmm.
factions will form, and, Desaad will be playing a role in it. But then I'm thinking, when are they going to send all the criminals there? Like, I doubt we'll see in Lanterns Rick Flag Sr. throwing all these criminals there. I don't see Supergirl having Argus in it. Honestly, maybe Creature Commando
Maybe
season two.
it they could include it as like a little background scene, like you just see an Argus van, and them loading people up and driving off, and it's like, oh well, I know where they're going, just kind of like a little background detail to connect the worlds. I could see them maybe doing something like that where it's not a major part of the story, but if you're looking, you'll notice it.
Yeah, I like it. Now we have a Hunter Iggy asked, not your status quo. What other characters would you like to see in Checkmate?
Good question. Hmm.
That is a good question.
Well, I think knowing James Gunn's filmmaking style, I don't think it needs to be limited to the roster that we saw in the comics. I think he could literally open it up to anyone. And if we end up getting uh, any story that tells Jason Todd, I'd like to see him in there.
now that would be cool.
Hmm.
And we know, well, we don't know, but he's talked about in Batman Brave and the Bold that the Robin is going to be Damian Wayne, his son. So
Oh wow,
very
we're jumping right to
likely,
Damien.
yeah, very likely, and we know Batman has been operating for a while. Maybe those other
Hmm.
Batman Robins have been apart and have already moved on. So we could see Jason Todd, we could see Tim Drake, we could see any of the Robins, you know,
Hmm.
kind of come upon. Honestly, there's so many characters. Mr. Terrific, possibly.
Yes,
He could help them.
definitely.
Deadshot,
They they well, Deadshot
he
maybe.
he hasn't really been.
I'm guessing they would recast him then.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure they would recast him. because that was, this would be the DCU. Maybe GI Robot.
That would be great. I would. I wonder what a like what it would look like. I wonder if they would use the same kind of prosthetics and mask that they did for oh my gosh, what was the show that we were watching? The DC show with all the weird characters, butt zombies.
Oh, Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol, thank you. Sorry. I wonder if they'll be like a Robot Man in Doom Patrol, if it'll look like that, because I'm trying to think what a live action um, GI Robot would look like, especially since he got redone with the giant metal body and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting, And I mean, part of Checkmate was always the Knights and the Rooks and all of the red shirts. If you're familiar with Star Trek lingo, that was kind of, that was part of, their organization. I think we'll see more of them than maybe heroes. But I mean, we could see Guy Gardner helping them if if the thing with Maxwell Lord kind of falls apart. Who else? I mean, they haven't really introduced too many people. Oh, maybe Vixen.
Oh, maybe.
Because maybe we see some of these heroes that eventually,
She's
join.
one with the animal amulet, right?
Yes, she can take the powers of any animal and stuff.
Yeah.
So we may see a lot of down the road Justice League characters either working for Maxwell Lord in the Justice Gang or joining Checkmate to help them out in certain, or they just may be brought on for certain missions. Like they're almost, I don't want to say tricked into, but convinced, hey, we need this help because we're trying to stop this. You're not a part of Checkmate, but this is what we found out. We need your help, and they'll just kind of join that way.
Honestly, it wouldn't be bad if it had a rotating crew as well.
Yeah. I agree. It would be nice. A rotating group of characters. I would be 100% on board. And the thing, James Gunn has reiterated multiple times that there's no Checkmate show yet.
Okay.
Or I should say he has said there's no Checkmate show, but maybe down the line we will get it. Maybe he'll figure out a use for it. I think with him, he may be, we're not going to do a Checkmate show, and then, he'll be flying to London or something for something and be like, oh my God, I got a great idea how to use Checkmate. And then, a show will be born out of it that way. So maybe we'll get it that way, but,
if they do, whether they appear in a movie or they get their own show, the only ask that I have is that after they solve the case, Adebayo has to run out and say, and that's Checkmate. Just really lean into the corniness, and everyone just look like, no.
She's been hanging around Peacemaker too much.
Right. Vigilante viciously stabbing somebody. Checkmate, checkmate, checkmate.
I'm already dead. Well, any other thoughts or anything before we rate this episode, good sir?
No, Keith, I wish there were. I wish I had more thoughts to say about this episode, but I mean, what I put on the thumbnail, that's, that's kind of my overall feeling. So, I think I'm ready to rate it if you are.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go.
So, again, as I was saying, just watching this episode, I had a lot of high expectations. I should know better. Obviously, we've done this plenty of times before where we'll have really high hopes about a movie or a show, and then it kind of lets us down a bit. But I haven't had any reason to be let down by something that James Gunn has written and or directed. And so I don't know, I guess my brain is now wired to think what he puts out is probably going to be good. And if he tells me this is the most crazy episode ever, and nothing compares to this, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. This is his biggest thing he's ever done, only to sit down and watch what, again, just felt like another episode. It didn't feel like a season finale at all. And again, I agree with you. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I kind of did. I disliked the hype around it. I'll put it that way. I disliked all the hype around it and the fact that we were led to believe it was going to be a bigger deal than what it was. But the way that it was laid out, we essentially just got a bunch of flashbacks. We found out what really happened on the boat, as if anyone was really clamoring for that. We didn't get any big cameos. I mean, nothing that I would consider a big cameo. Yeah, we got to see more of Lex's crew. Okay, we've already seen them. That's not, I don't know. I don't consider that a big cameo. We, you know, and we ended on a kind of a cliffhanger, but again, we've already seen basically that before with Peacemaker in jail. So, I mean, it's like, yeah, we know that this salvation, we know that they didn't venture anywhere outside of that one first field that they walked into and then just said, okay, it's good enough to support life. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a cliffhanger, but it's going to be so long before it pays off that it doesn't matter. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to give this just a 5 out of 10 because it had some good elements. I like that it set up things like checkmate. I like that, you know, it well, I mean, I know that it's going to lead somewhere with, the stuff that we've got set up here, but it's all just kind of speculative because it didn't do a lot in setting a whole lot up. We have these ideas based on the comics, like, okay, well, we've got salvation that's been established, and we know that that comes from the comics, and we know that we might now finally get, Dark Side and the other new gods, but it's a big might. So, yeah, 5 out of 10. I wish it was a lot better than it was. This doesn't feel like a season finale to me, and I expected better.
Agreed. When we hear it's the best episode he's ever done, he's so proud of it. It's insane. He can't wait for people to see it. He didn't show it to anybody prior to it airing because he wanted to keep secrets. And I mean, then you find out, oh, it's 57 minutes. You're like, oh my god, this is gonna be jam packed, full of just awesomeness. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, Doug, he hasn't let us down yet. I mean, all the Guardians of the Galaxy movies were great. Creature Commandos, the Suicide Squad, Superman. We've liked everything he's done. And even though he had hyped the Flash, that wasn't something he did himself. This was something he was proud of that he did. And it's like, okay, it's 57 minutes, but we get a full Nelson song. We get Foxy Shazam singing, the thing. And I'm just like, can we get can we get to that insanity now?
Can we get some story?
I really want to see it. And we just never got there. And it set up some cool stuff. And I'm excited to see how they take, the salvation stuff in the DCU, how it's going to differ from the comics and what's going to happen. I'm excited for that. And I'm excited if it brings into Sod and it gets us, closer to, Dark Side and things that can happen with him being in the DCU. And I'm glad Checkmate's there. Are we going to see it be kind of like it's in the comics? Are they going to have foot soldiers that are knights and rooks and pawns? And then we'll have Peacemaker and Jude and all this stuff. And, it sets up some stuff that I'm looking forward to. But as an episode, it was just kind of like there.
Yeah. Yes.
And
It existed.
same as you. I'm not going to give it less than a 5 because I don't think it was a bad episode. But I'm going to give it a 5.2 because it wasn't a really good or great episode. It set up some cool stuff, and the acting was fine. What they did makes sense for what has happened, and I don't want to be too harsh on it because my expectations were so high for all these cameos and stuff. But the writer and director of the show told us to get our hype up. So I'm trying to be as nice as I possibly can. But yeah, 5.2. After 7 episodes of good and great, this was a letdown.
Yeah.
But it can make up. If this leads into something awesome in Man of Tomorrow and maybe some other projects that we don't know about yet, then sweet. But I probably will watch it again if I rewatch the season. But I'm not. This was an episode where it ended. I was just like, I'm not going to rewatch that before we talk about it. I have no need
Yeah.
to.
I bet you any money that you wouldn't necessarily need to include this episode in a run. Like, literally, if they were going to do a season 3 of Peacemaker, whatever recap that they did in the front of its first episode, that would be enough to cover. Oh, okay, so yeah, Peacemaker was left, and that's the main thing that happened. Otherwise, it's like, what else do you need? Should we do that Nelson song again?
Yeah. Should we bring like Extreme out here to play More Than Words or something
Right.
to really bring it all? But Hunter Iggy has a question. James Gunn is not adaptation. The Salvation is just taking elements. Yeah, yeah. I don't think he's going to adapt it,
Oh yeah.
word for word from the comic run.
Hmm.
I think he's just going to take elements that he wants, and I do think one of those elements will be Desaad and introducing the new gods because that's right up his alley and things that he likes. So I went from thinking 100% Brainiac was going to be the villain of Man of Tomorrow to now thinking it's going to be Desaad, and it's going to be
And I
a
could see
lot
that.
more. We might see some of the new gods. We might find Orion, which to me would be hilarious because he looks so much like Peacemaker, and people confuse the
That's
two.
true.
So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to the stuff. I just was disappointed in this last episode. So, but yeah, he won't adapt it word for word. He'll put his own spin on it. He's gonna take the stuff he likes out of it and put his own unique spin on it, and we'll get something different but similar.
Uh, since you brought up the foot soldiers of Checkmate, that feels like such a James Gunn thing to do, and I need to see Checkmate again in another movie or show, and I need to see the most ridiculous costumed people as just like their bullet sponges.
Yes, and like they all have just like the knights have a kind of like a knighty, thing,
Right.
and then the pawns are just like balls on their head or something as they're just like trying to storm the thing and just getting blown away.
Okay, whose idea was this again? Vigilante.
Now get up there,
Ask
guys!
me a chess fact.
That would be awesome. Ask me any chess fact. How does the rook move? They just move wherever they want. No, they don't.
No. Have you ever played chess before? No.
But I am an expert.
God.
All right. Anyone else who has anything to talk about for this finale? If you want to give us your rating, please do. You want to talk more about Salvation or Desaad, or even if you think the villain is still going to be Brainiac, because they could do something along those lines where Brainiac is the one running that planet and won't be, a training ground for, New Genesis or Apocalypse. It could be anything. So while I do think it'll be Desaad, it still could be Brainiac. It'll be interesting to
Oh yeah.
see how that goes, but I just think he's going to want to get to the new gods and everything else sooner rather than later. But all right, Doug, are you ready for some info we got from New York City Comic Con?
I would love to hear what info you got from New York Comic Con.
So they did have a Marvel television and animation panel,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the animation highlights. We are getting Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2 in the fall of
No,
2026.
what? We are?
We are.
I never would have guessed that if they wouldn't have told us at New York City Comic Con.
I know. We had no clue. They did give us the fall thing, so we kind of know when it's coming out now. But
You know what? Next, we're going to tell me we're getting Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man again. And X-Men 97 or whatever it was called.
oh, I'm glad you
98.
brought that up. But before we
Yeah?
get into that, they did talk about it. Venom is going to play a role in this. Daredevil's going to cameo again. So Harry Osborn, Nikki Moreau, Gwen Stacy's all going to be in it. More Doc Ock, more Spidey lore. So it sounds like they're taking what we liked about the
They're
first season.
very good shows. I'm
Yes.
looking forward to seeing them again. Yeah.
Yep. They're not changing the formula from what we enjoyed, so hopefully season 2
Hopefully
is as
not.
good. And Brad, I forget his last name, starts with a W, the head of Marvel Television, is saying that they want to kind of do yearly seasons of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and X-Men 97.
Awesome.
So they did talk about season 2. It is coming summer of 2026.
Okay.
Season 3 is officially greenlit, so we are getting a season 3
Oh, wow,
also
already.
And they did show a trailer which was not released. You see Apocalypse in his classic form. He time travels and kind of goes back to the Wolverine Bishop Jubilee and Nightcrawler back from the actual 1990s show, it looks like. So there is a lot going on. Of course, they didn't release it to the public, but this is another show that they are saying they want to do yearly. So, as long as this show is running, we will be getting, it sounds like an X-Men 97 season for as long as it's going, and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We'll get those yearly seasons instead of having to wait 2 and 3 years between everything. So it sounds like they're getting things together and doing the right thing.
Well, that's good.
And now, Marvel television projects. They talked about Daredevil Born Again Season 2, which was coming March 2026 on Disney+. They had a trailer, which was not released to the public. But if you go on Kristen Ritter's Instagram, she did play it all out in a story.
Nice.
So, one of the stars of Season 2 leaked the entire thing. And,
it's like, why are we hiding this?
yeah, Wilson Fisk is still running New York City. He's as brutal as anything else. We do see Jessica Jones make an appearance. Bullseye, Foggy Nelson, and flashbacks of Vanessa Fisk. And Season 3 is already in development.
Okay.
So this is another one. They're talking about Daredevil Born Again, as long as it lasts, will be, as best they can, a yearly series. And one of the things,
as long as they keep improving the quality, don't lessen the quality just to get it out quicker.
100%. If they need to wait a little bit, please do. Don't rush out garbage. But it'll be nice because he is saying now one of the changes they are making in Marvel television is instead of just having little limited series of all these different heroes and introduce them where it goes nowhere after that, pretty much. They're going to do the shows that the people want. We want to see Daredevil. We want to see that thing. And the big thing that he said is talking about how Season 2 leads in to Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, a lot of that, people immediately jumped and said Daredevil is definitely showing up in it. I still don't know if that's the case, because Charlie Cox hasn't been seen filming out there. He was filming another movie, and I can't remember what it is now, but he hasn't been near London or anywhere when they're filming, so I think it's more about the Punisher showing up in Brand New Day in what he does in Season 2 and lead directly into that. So, but I do hope that this continues and we do see a Daredevil Spider-Man team up in a movie at some time, and I hope they're taking on Wilson Fisk, because that would be the best thing that the MCU could do for a grounded version of Spider-Man. And they also,
I always look forward to good Spider-Man media. You know that.
Yeah, we're all big Spider-Man fans here at Not Your Status Quo. And speaking of big fans, they also talked Wonder Man.
Okay. And what did they talk about?
Well, they showed a trailer, and we're going to watch it here in a minute. But they did have some bad news to start. This series is not premiering until January 27th, 2026. We are not getting it
I
this
thought it was
December.
supposed to be coming out end of this year.
It was. It originally was December, but they've pushed it back. And the way
Did they give a reason?
They did not. Because they had never given a date before. It was just speculated, and there was some Disney Plus media that said late 2025 release. So this is updated. Simon Williams is a struggling actor, and he's trying to get cast in a superhero movie reboot. And this is one of the most meta trailers I have ever seen. Are you ready to watch the official trailer for Wonder Man, Doug?
Sure.
The entertainment world is stunned today when internationally celebrated and reclusive filmmaker Von Kovac sprung out of retirement to sign on for a remake of Wonder Man. Mr. Von Kovac, could you tell us more?
Everyone is tired of superheroes. There is an opportunity to reimagine a whole genre of storytelling.
Have you thought about casting?
VHS tape. So Buck Rogers.
And that's fun. For one, it's hilarious that Wonder Man was a movie way back in the day, and now they're redoing the movie. And that costume that Wonder Man is wearing in that was like a costume he had in the West Coast Avengers comic run for like 2 issues that was so hated, they got rid of it. And I applaud them for taking that green, red, and yellow suit with the jetpacks on the back and putting that in there. And it looks like that's going to be the old movie that they're remaking. But I just saw that and was like, oh, they used that costume. Because Wonder Man has had some bad costumes. At one point, he had just like a red sport jacket that he wore.
That's a choice.
Yes, it is. And James Gunn has said that's his best costume. So I'm glad James Gunn is not a part of this, because he would probably be wearing that throughout. But you do actually see in some of the media, what's his name, wearing like a red sports coat like that. So that may be his go-to look when he's not, fighting or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Kind of, it's funny that you said that James Gunn said that was his favorite costume, because that's essentially Star-Lord.
Yeah, pretty much. That is true. I never thought of it that way, but you're right.
So, what's this big audition you were talking about?
It's a huge opportunity. I'm auditioning for Wonder Man.
Did you hear about Wonder Man? I need to be in this movie.
Sorry, you crazy.
I was born to play this character.
Oh, you serious? Boo, they are already talking to Leo.
That's great that Simon Williams, the actual Wonder Man, wants to play this role. And she's like, oh, they already talked to Leo about that and stuff. And one of the things I wonder that if they're going to do in this, obviously in the comics, Wonder Man is a white character. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if he's going to get backlash. In the show, they're like, oh, you can't play him, he's always been white or anything, and just see.
If the goal is for it to be super meta, yeah, I could definitely say that. Because Disney, Marvel, all of their stuff, they're constantly getting backlash for that.
Yep. And I know when he was first cast, I had people texting me because they know Wonder Man is my favorite. They're like, oh, what do you think? I'm like, it doesn't matter what color Wonder Man is.
Doesn't matter.
As long as this guy can act, I'm happy. Now, I did not expect this show to be this meta, because it seems very kind of Brooklyn 990 in the sense that showrunner was kind of doing it. Just
like it's going to be a comedy.
Yes, it's going maybe not a comedy, but it's going to have some very laughable moments in it.
Okay,
let's continue.
You just gotta go out there and crush it.
What's wrong?
I'm trying to come up with a backstory for the character.
Well, trust the words. Just show up and say them.
No, that's not my process.
Bloody process can go blow a spider.
I just love that we see his whole technique. He's like getting all loosened up. And, of course, Trevor Slattery just kind of shows him. He's like, just say the words. That's how easy acting is. For those of you that know me, we were not doing this when Iron Man 3 came out. But I loathed that twist so incredibly much. Ben Kingsley sounded like the perfect Mandarin.
He did.
And I was so mad at that movie. I hated it. I still have not rewatched it since we did the Road to Infinity War. Mm-hmm. It sits bad with me. But then seeing like All Hail the King one shot where like he's in prison, they come up and they go do the voice, and he's like, and you'll never see me coming. And it's like, as bad as I hated the twist there, like him being in Shang-Chi, being held by the real Mandarin, and then, him being in prison and doing the voice for all the other criminals because I love it. And now seeing him in Wonder Man, like he's auditioning for parts again. Like they're doubling down on him just being an actor. And now I'm like, okay, fine. I give up. And he's such a, in Shang-Chi when he's like, I'm not really dead. I'm just pretending, so they don't get me or whatever, to this. Just read the words. That's all you got to do.
I will say, I don't think I hated Iron Man 3 as much as you did, but I was very upset at the reveal that it was, some guy named Trevor Slattery, because as I'm watching it, yeah, they pulled me into him like, holy shit, this guy is evil. Oh my God, they picked such a good actor to play this terrorist because, just the cadence that he was, talking about things and America's reign of terror will come to an end and we will rain terror down on them and all of these other things. And it's like, wow, that sounds like, some evil bad guy stuff. And he's got such like a perfect voice for this and this just like attitude of uncaringness as he's killing people. I'm thinking, oh my God, they got such a great villain. And then for them to reveal, oh no, he's an actor and we invented this idea of the Mandarin in order to cover up these experiments gone wrong. And it's like, oh, huh, it's a little lackluster.
I hope it teaches people, don't tease like an iconic villain being in a movie to just him be like, oh, we just made it up.
At least don't tease it done so well. Like
Yes.
if you would have had him acting like really crappy and people like are constantly questioning throughout the movie like this is weird, this doesn't add up, and people aren't actually afraid of him and stuff like that, like, oh, this cheeseball. Like if they would have went in that direction, I think the twist would have been more acceptable. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Of course, these cheesy productions were an actor. Great. I get why. I assume the plan was always to eventually make Shang-Chi. So I get why they wanted to not do the real Mandarin, or even have the real Mandarin be called the Mandarin. Like, he even pokes fun at that name.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, that's just some name the Westerners came up. Like, that's a chicken. It's a food.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys killing it in there, bro.
Where have I seen him before?
Pretty sure he used to be a terrorist.
You can.
And the fact that they are willing. Where have we seen it? It's great. One, he's killing it, even though his, process. Just read the words.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like,
Isn't he a criminal?
I think he was formerly a terrorist.
Right.
They're okay with it.
Well, I mean,
As long as he can act.
Late whenever you're ready.
Simon Williams, reading for Wonder Man.
Listen to me, Simon. The callback is happening now. Just be normal.
Normal man. The breakdown is go method.
Come in. Mr. Kovac will meet you in the living room.
So you all here to meet Von Kovac?
Mm-hmm. Hello, everyone. I want to explore the place between fiction and non-fiction.
One, I love that they got the guy from Superman to be this director guy. But two, the way he's talking, he wants to blur the lines of fiction and nonfiction. I think they are going to give Simon Williams his powers for the movie. And I think...
I actually have a question about that.
Yes.
Do you think the movie is just a cover?
Yes, I do.
That's what I was thinking.
I think all of this is just going to be probably advanced idea mechanics in a way to power somebody up. And the reason he's getting picked to go there is probably he's a prime candidate for the, ionic radiation that's going to hit him to power him up. And they brought, all of them, people are there not because it's a final casting and it's just all, they're going to start experimenting on them, and they're going to want to see who survives to come up. There's no movie. There won't be a Wonder Man movie, but at the end of this series, Simon Williams will be, Wonder Man.
It would be funny if, I don't see Disney doing this because it would actually be a cool idea and it'd be funny and, Disney. But it'd be great if they produced, an old school Buck Rogers-esque Wonder Man movie and uploaded it to Disney Plus. I'd watch the hell out of that. I'll take some corny, cheesy, 50s sci-fi.
If they do that, yes, I will watch it. We'll review it. We'll talk about it. I'll probably buy the Simon Williams, PJs or the Wonder Man PJs that look like that horrid costume from it. I would be all in.
That's tight.
We are going to make the last movie on Earth. No one will have the balls to make another.
And action! Any news from Von Kovac?
There is news you'll be the first to know.
Unless you call me again, in which case I will never tell you.
I do like his sassy agent. In which case, I won't tell you.
Call one more time.
And I do think that's obviously before they get the call back to go to his mansion or whatever and do all this. But
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see who is actually behind trying to power him up. Because it's probably not Hydra, because they're kind of not really around right now. But it very well could be AIM. And I hope it is, because there's a lot of stories they could tell with AIM. Now, obviously, they used MODOK, regrettably, in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Such a waste.
But they still can have, the Scientist Supreme, all the foot soldiers, and they may be in the business of trying to power people up. And we may get, Wonder Man. They may end up powering up because Wonder Man's brother is the Grim Reaper. We don't see him in this trailer, but maybe they power him up also, or he goes another route to get powered up. And who knows, maybe we'll see other characters get their powers, because we've always talked about how the power broker in the comics powered up a bunch of people and gave them their powers, and we may see AIM doing it too in this, so we may get a little bit of new superheroes being introduced more easily into the MCU by just saying, oh, the power broker gave them their powers, because we don't always need elaborate origin stories for some super side characters that are coming in. But I, for one, I'm looking forward to it. As meta as that trailer was, and not what I expected at all, and we didn't see him with his powers, we didn't see
It's funny that you said that you didn't expect that. That's exactly what I expected when we got that initial teaser and they told us that it was going to be about the making of a TV show called Wonder Man, or a movie called Wonder Man or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, so this is just an actor that will eventually get to. So yeah, I guess I kind of figured that's what this was going to be.
I thought he was already going to have his powers, and he wanted to.
Okay.
Because in the comics, he's also a stuntman. He does stunt work for the movies and all this stuff, and I thought it was going to be more like that. He was already powered up, and he was a stuntman, and they were making a movie about Wonder Man, his adventures as the superhero, and he wanted to play the lead role or something. But this is just something I didn't expect, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope it is quality. We always hear, everyone who's seen it loves it. It's so good. I'm so sick of hearing that. Just
they have to say that so they get to keep getting sent these early releases.
Yeah. So, and of course, like we said, we saw at the end right there, it's not coming out till January 27th now. We don't know if it's going to be all 8 episodes at once, or we're going to get them week by week.
I hope it's week by week.
Me too. That'd be nice. I bet most of what we saw in that trailer will be from episode 1.
I could see that, yeah. They're not going to want to give too much away.
Yep. And then one last thing was talked about during New York City Comic-Con on the Marvel television side, Vision Quest.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It is premiering late 2026 on Disney+.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their words, not mine. Concludes the trilogy begun with WandaVision and Agatha all along.
Yeah, I remember reading that. That tracks.
Yep. And obviously Paul Bettany's going to be in it. They're going to have AI of Jarvis, Friday, Edith. James Spader is returning as Ultron, but in a human
Really?
form.
Now that is cool.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. And we are going to be introduced to Tommy Maximoff, who is Speed and a brother of Wiccan.
Nice.
So it sounds like they're definitely going to be leaning in a little bit to the WandaVision stuff and maybe some of the Agatha stuff, because we know Agatha ended with Wiccan and Ghost Agatha looking for Tommy, who was kind of brought back or got his new body, or however you want to say it. So
I assume while Agatha all along was very steeped in like mysticism and magic and everything, I'm guessing Vision Quest is probably going to be more on the technical and sci-fi side of it.
I think you are absolutely right, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers. And that is about all we got, which was quite a bit. But of course,
That's all we got for Marvel, or that's all we got? That's all we got.
that's all we got. There was no DCU stuff. There was some comic book stuff that came out. We don't usually talk about it on the show. Cyclops is getting his own solo comic, which I don't know if he's ever had. Storm's getting a new comic. She's been having her own comic, but X-Men and stuff are coming back. Joshua, oh my God, what's his name? Joshua Williamson, who wrote Superman for a while, did a good job, is getting his own Iron Man comic coming up. So lots of cool stuff. I honestly 100% thought they were going to introduce a new Wonder Man ongoing monthly comic. They did not.
They're probably waiting to see how the show does before they dedicate writers and artists to a new comic. If it turns out that people don't like the character in the show, then it may not end up leading to comic sales. And it seems like that's the direction it's been going lately. If something does well in movies and TV shows, then you start seeing a whole bunch of comics about it. I notice that every time we start reviewing something, and I'll go over to the comic book store on Haircut and Comic Book Day, and I'll always notice an influx of like new issues or new stories or new runs of something that was recently on TV, and I was like, yeah, okay, I guess that figures. That was bound to happen. Yeah. It did well.
Now, the one thing I am hoping, Marvel Unlimited sometimes will release unlimited comics around the release of it, where they're shorter, kind of, it's scrolling comics instead of like the normal panel comics, and it's exclusive to Marvel Unlimited. So maybe we'll get some Wonder Man stuff there, but I'm looking forward to it because I already have, I know I've talked about this before, but I have my list of 25 comics that I want to do in my Wonder Man back issue breakdown.
All right.
Well, I shouldn't say all. 5 of them don't have Wonder Man in it. Maybe,
but you're going to do them anyway.
Well, I really want to do it because it's the Under Siege storyline from Avengers, where the Masters of Evil do a bunch of stuff, and it intertwines with the West Coast Avengers a little bit
there you
with
go.
Simon. But you know, it starts out with his origin issue, which is completed. I just need to figure out a day to upload it. Then we're going to go when he gets raised from the dead, when he fighting the Vision, when the Grim Reaper comes, some Ultron stories, just tons of stuff. I'm planning on doing the West Coast Avengers limited series, where he becomes a West Coast Avenger. Iron Man Annual 9, the Under Steve stuff, and then I'm going to end it with the Vision Quest issues from West Coast Avengers.
Nice. That is a perfect tie-in. Now, Keith, let me ask you, as a person who enjoys a comic book every now and again, where could I go to watch your back issue breakdowns?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. You can go to our YouTube channel, and you can check out all of the playlists. We have a playlist with all of the back issue breakdowns with them. And we also have playlists for certain ones like X-Men, Days of Future Past, Fantastic Four, Galactus, Doctor Doom, all of the characters we've done and stuff. They're all there. And
nice.
They're quick, they're shorts. I try to keep them all less than a minute. And like I always say, we don't tell you everything that happens. So if you like it, go check out the issue. Go buy it. Read it on Marvel Unlimited. You know, I just like sharing some of the artwork because it's so good. And giving people maybe a little backstory into why things are happening in some of the shows.
I agree with that.
Well, all right. What do you think about rating somebody, sir?
I think that might be a good idea. I think we should probably find somebody to raid. I see Spice of Life is on, doing a Digimon game. I see that Laura Dreaming is on, doing Dreamoween, Stuck in the Middle with You, Captured. Um, let's see. I don't really see that many people on tonight.
No, there isn't really. Well, what should we do? Spice of Life? I have no idea what this Digimon story is.
Neither do I.
Or Laura Dreaming.
Why don't we do Laura Dreaming? She's doing a Halloween theme. I figure that fits.
Oh, that's true.
It is spooky season after all. And for those of you out there wondering, what we're talking about when we're saying we're looking for a channel to raid, it's not nearly as nefarious as it might sound like. Essentially what we're doing is, in the event that you're not done for the night, you watched your favorite fellow nerds and maybe you want to watch somebody almost as cool as the two of us, we'll keep the party going, so to speak, and we'll head over to another friend. In this case, we're checking out another streamer here on Twitch called Laura Dreaming. So we're going to go head over there. But for those of you that are not watching us on Twitch, if you are there on YouTube, first off, thank you so much. Thank you for watching us. Just the view alone, we appreciate that. But if you haven't already, make sure you like this video if you liked it. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already. Let your friends know about us. And of course, as per usual, we've asked you, hit those comments, get in the comments down below. And of course, as always, we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo. Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.